Hey everybody, Arthur Perez with the Ask My Roofer podcast, coming to you live today from the studio. We are super excited to have Charles Antis of Antis Roofing in the studio today. Charles, how you doing, sir?
I'm excellent, man. This is like my 6-year-old daughter said, this is the best day ever.
I love it. I love it. So you are somebody that I've had my eye on for quite some time. I've been in the industry for about a decade, and I think you're about triple that now with the Antis. Can you kind of talk about your background and how you guys started?
Yeah, I'd love to. I didn't grow up being aware of roofing as a thing. It was just what protected us. I just took it for granted. But I grew up in Oregon, where the men that I knew that provided for their families, they worked with their hands, and they worked with their hands outdoors cutting trees or in the plywood or lumber mills. And that's where my dad worked. Roseburg Forest Products, you put down that plywood on those roofs, that's what we made. And we worked in the woods. And so work was like this thing, and there was risk involved, and you toiled. And that's how I grew up. So I ended up in Southern California, and the job that I was working for didn't pan out because one day I went to a client's house to pick up a check that I had sold the day before, and they wouldn't speak to me. And I was selling insulation door to door. I'd been recruited to do that. And they wouldn't speak to me because they said, what you promised us wasn't going to happen. The neighbor came over and told me to get off the property, and he goes, you were ripping off my neighbors. And so I ended up in Southern California without a job. 1984, the Summer Olympics are going on. And I looked for a job, with my hands. And the only job that I could see in the LA area was roofing. And so I took that job, and that's how I got into roofing. And that's, I sort of got a passion for leak repair. I got a kick out of solving something that no other guy could solve up on that roof. And I learned to think like a bead of water. But it didn't start that way. It started that way working for another company, where the owner came out one day because I repaired a leak, and he said, you missed that leak. And I go, no, I didn't. I patched it. It was leaking right there. And he goes, yeah, but you put it back wrong. You put the above piece on before the below piece, so now it's bucking water, and water's running down that coping and right into the leak. It'll leak within a couple of years. And I looked at him, and I wanted to argue, and I said, you're right. And that night, I didn't sleep. I was doing repairs all night in my dreams. You know how that is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to be the best at solving leaks. And so even though I had a small company, I became the very best at solving leaks in HOA. This is 1989. And when we couldn't sell re-roofs at the time, we didn't have that ability. We didn't have kettles and crews, but we could solve that leak, and we could go in there and think like a bead of water flowing off a duck's back. If there's a disheveled feather, it's going to leak. And so we would take apart roofing components and wall components and deck components, and we would find exactly where it leaks, and we would show the evidence to the homeowners. And was the evolution of what we do now. And that's how we can take care of HOAs so well, because that philosophy of going in and designing around this fortress like feathers on a duck's back.
So you talk about your humble beginnings, your start. You're working for somebody else. You're actually doing the leak repair. You're learning how to flash things properly, right? So what do you attribute to the growth of your company, to Antis, your personal success? What do you attribute this tremendous growth? Because I know that you guys forgive me, but I think you guys are on one of the top 100 contractors list, correct?
Yeah, I think we were.
So how do you go? Hey, you're growing. That's phenomenal to be on that list. That's a huge accomplishment. So that being said, how do you go from just the leak guy to where you are now?
Well, there's a lot going on. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all in every day. When you're an entrepreneur and you're all in every day, you put your head here and something goes off, a fire goes off there. You go put your head there. And I think that I was really focused on customer care. I am obsessed with the customer, and that's why That's huge. Never filed a lien in 31 years. We've never had a warranty not fulfill its end, because we'll make it fulfill to its end, but that doesn't happen in this industry. But that's not the reason we're successful. I think that the wanting to do that is one thing. How do you do it? And I think the reason we've been able to grow past those 3 million, the 7 million, the 10 million mark is really hard to grow past.
Yeah, a lot of people get stuck there. Yeah.
We've been able to get there through culture. And I didn't know that. Culture was an accidental stumbling block for me. I didn't know how to build culture. I didn't know what culture was. I didn't know there was supposed to be this family feeling at work, and that you could make work a safe place by culture. And if you did, you could attract and retain top talent. But now that I know that, that's how we got there. I'm great at sales. I'm great at leak repair. But if I spent all my time in sales, then I would be selling a lot of jobs right here, but I wouldn't necessarily be building a better company. If I spent all my time in project management, which I'm good at when I focus on it, then I wouldn't be able to do all these other things. But if I put my time in people, and if I put my time in putting my people first and trying to, and saying that and doing that is not easy. In fact, I'm not satisfied with the way that I don't live up to putting my people first. But if I put my people first and then put my community second, then magic occurs. And that's the reason. Now, I'll tell you, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that. I couldn't see it yet. It wasn't profound yet. But today, in the super adaptive and scary world to many people, Antis employees are more content than they've ever been. And why is that? It's because we have purpose. We know why we're here. We're here. When we answer the call, we know we're here to keep families safe and dry. And we know that everything matters. How we answer that phone, what we do, how we look at that repair, how we clean that job site. Are we perfect? No, but it matters. And so we have expression we say, and it's every nail matters. You know, in fact, it's on the shirt I'm wearing today. And I know this is an audio, but it's every nail matters, because there's 200,000 parts on the average roof that we sell. I mean, and does it matter if that roof's in a little bit too, that nail's in a little bit too far, not far enough? Yes, it can take a 30-year section and break it down to 8 years. So when you tell people that every nail matters, not everybody gets it, not everybody stays, but those that do live it. And we live it better than we ever have. And that's the reason our company is growing. And that's the reason we have capacity to grow. And that's the reason we have major impact on community.
That's huge. That's huge. You know, and a lot of people miss that point, you know, the mind state, especially today, and we'll touch a little bit on COVID times and kind of how we've all had to adapt, but going someplace that is allows you to be mentally healthy, that's huge. You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, toxic workplaces and things like that. I know a lot of the people that work with Antis, and they're some of the happiest people in the roofing industry I've ever met. You've assembled a great team at Antis. So who was the first step in that team? How did you assemble that team? When did you realize, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. I need to hire the right people?
I think that was in that. I somehow stumbled upon that because maybe it's my AD, my attention deficit. You know, it's like, I've learned to use that to my advantage. So I'd say it, though, it works this way. I'm going to be really kind to my people here, but I got to be really kind to those that were here before. There's a lot of employees that are no longer at Antis, and they left their mark all in a good way. It's like they come here and they claim they have this power, and they do. And when they leave, they leave it. They leave us with that gift. So we hire for things that other people maybe in roofing hasn't thought of yet, like a director of cause. What's a director of cause? Well, we created that because we knew the power of our people connecting to community, and the result is huge. I mean, the result is huge, and I could talk about that all day long. The result is huge in our brand. The result is huge in our sales. The result is huge in our performance. The result is huge in that fact that every nail does matter. So I'd say, I'm sorry, I forgot your question.
No, it's okay. We were just talking about team, and you've assembled a fantastic one. No, it's you talk with such a passion, so it's all right. You talk with such a passion. We all get caught up.
Well, I didn't want to leave out the team today. That's why I wanted to get back to it. I knew I was leaving out, but there's some fundamental people that are here today that you know and you like. I think we're all pretty good friends. Yes. And one of them is my nephew, Aaron Antis. And, you know, I don't want to overly dwell on my nephew. It just sounds so nepotistic, you know, and because, you know, Aaron got early advantages. He was my nephew for sure, but he was also the guy that would just go out there and bust his butt all day long, whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
And I knew he was that all-in guy. And so what's happened with Aaron is I've watched him grow, and something happened in the last year, in particular, last few years, but the last year, he's really walked into this VP role. And I've watched him have major impact with team, with community, with sales, with the roofers that are shaping the country across the world. He's part of this higher learning and roofing, this,
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called right now. It's Future Executives Institute. And it
Yes.
holds this for the NRCA. And what Aaron can do is he's so, and he's a star in there. Of course he is, but I met the other class. I go, oh, Aaron doesn't know this, but he's like the guy we all want to be like. And I get it, because he's always trying to do it better. He makes people uncomfortable sometimes, but he's always thinking of how to do it better. And so I get to see that. I've watched him turn into this VP that's massive on sales, but he's also massive on the back end. How can we track better? And we track better. We know, because we're on the national boards, we track better than any roofing company, because we're obsessed with tracking. Come visit us at Antis. Come inside and watch the stations and watch how we track. So Aaron built this. And so Aaron is a great story. And I guess the reason I'm pausing on it is most times with family, you can't count on that, but he has this he has this reimagining brain, and he's learning to hold himself and not take himself too seriously. He can be questioned, and I'm watching this evolve. But then I have Susan DeGrassi, who's famous in the HOA industry. She was number 2 under Melinda Masson. I have her and what she does. It's like she's my director of cost. She's on the board of the National Women Roofing. She's on the board of chapter of Southern California for Red Cross. That's why we do the blood drives here every week these last couple months, but we're able to do so much because of her. But then I have Audrey, my VP of Finance, Audrey Schneider. So I don't want to go down and tell too much about but it matters. We attract and we retain the best talent. And right now I'm able to tell this team to tell our people that they can question everything, and they're holding that, and that's scary, but we know we're moving into a super adaptive world. So it's the team today that really makes it, but it trickles down. I don't have time to go through the next layer, but Arthur, I can tell you this, when I look around my team today, I've never seen it like this. I look at every person, because we have purpose built into this, they're all evolving, and they're all saying, I'm happier than I've ever been at work, and I feel job security like I've never felt. Now, how are my people feeling job security when around us, people don't feel it in all different walks? Well, a lot of that has to do with purpose. Purpose. Right. That is the component that keeps these people and retains them. And that's what we have today. Purposeful leaders who are willing to be questioned on how we can do it better, and are super networked across the country with the best brands that are questioning how we can do it better. And that's what I like about you, because that's what you talk to me about. And that's what I think this podcast is about. And that's why I'm on it. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. And just to circle back really quickly to Aaron, I had an opportunity to sit down with him and actually hear his story. And it's a phenomenal one, how he actually started, how he got into the industry. I don't think you took it easy on him to start. I think that he absolutely earned and worked his way up to where he is. And you can tell he's growing not only as a leader, but as a man, phenomenal man. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So we talked quickly about purpose. So I know that philanthropy is a huge part of what you guys do, and I have to believe that is part of the purpose of Antis. So can you talk a little bit about the things that you're involved in and why you got into it?
Yeah, I'm going to tell a story really quick that I think it needs to be told. It's the story we tell at this company more than anything. And that's that when I first started my business, when I was solving leaks, because that's what I could do, I got a few calls a week. And so calls were so precious. I put weather stripping on that home bedroom that I had converted to an office so they wouldn't hear my daughter. And I got a call from a lady who had leaks in every room. And I was excited to go out and look at this home. And as I drove out to the home the next day, I noticed as I was moving into the neighborhood in my car and my truck, that the homes were getting smaller and more disheveled. And I finally turned on the street where the home would be, and I just saw dead grass in this home. And I knocked on it, because you got to, Dad says you always show up. I knocked on the door, and then this lady answered the door with this really grim expression, and it shocked me. Before I could say anything, though, I was hit with the smell of mildew that almost knocked me down. And I was just, fight or flight. I was leaving. And as I was trying to pull away and think of how I was going to exit, I felt a tug at my finger. I looked down and there's this little blonde girl with this huge smile. And she's like totally in another world than her mom and me. She's smiling, we're not. She's pulling me into this crowded house. And finally she pulls me into her room. I know it's her room because she points to this My Little Pony poster on the wall. But that's when my eyes look down and I see 4 mattresses with mold on them.
Oh, that's horrible.
I just sat there. I was frozen because I didn't have money. I had a check coming in. I had bills to pay. I just started my business. And all of a sudden, the mom walks in the room again in that same expression. And something came out of me that I never remember saying until that time, but I think this is the key to our business. I said to that mom, before I could catch the words back, I said, I'm going to take care of your roof. And I said, oh God, can I? Will I? Can I? And I went up on the roof and I was praying. It was that, you do repairs. I'm praying it's that little hole because that's what I can do. I'm a repair guy. I hadn't even done hardly any roofs yet. I wasn't an accomplished roofer yet. I got up on that roof and they needed a roof, man. It was cream of wheat up there, man. There was nothing. It was just wet, mushy. So that weekend I got 6 volunteers. I went and got a bunch of product and we went up there and we rolled out sheets and we put 203 down and we gave them a drippy on the outside but dry roof, and that family stayed in that home, and that became this thing that is our culture today. I didn't have employees, but every time I saw one of the volunteers that I got to do that day, man, it was like a high five brother moment. Or every time I saw one of the siblings, there were 6 siblings, it was a high five moment. And that's what it feels like today. And I told that story because we did that. We were struck with a condition. I guarantee you've done the same thing. Something about roofers. We have this essential skill. We keep folks safe and dry. But I don't know a roofer that hasn't struck with the same condition that's this. We just can't let anyone have a leaky roof just because they don't have the money to pay. And I'll say that again because I want you to pause, your listeners, and say, hey, I'm proud of that fact that we just can't let anybody have a leaky roof just because they don't have the money to pay. And I know so many of us that go out and we tarp, and we did that for years. The reason we got formalized is Habitat for Humanity called me 12 years ago. They said, Sharon Ellis said, Charles, will you donate a roof? And I said, sure. And then she said, we donate another roof. It's a family for a veteran family. I said, sure. And we've donated every roof since. We've housed 70 families. And it's been over $1 million in product. And Eagle has donated every tile. Fontana Felt has donated most of the felt. But Antis has donated the rest. And you know why that's powerful? Man, we know. We live that. Yeah. We live to keep families safe and dry. And that's the way I got strong. Today, we're very involved in Ronald McDonald House. The initiative that I suggested to the Roofing Alliance and the NRCA was accepted. And now every Ronald McDonald House in the nation the roofs have been adopted. So I have all these causes that I work on now. So I have the blood drives. We're the California Love Drop. I'm doing one today. Wing Lamb, one of my best friends, we run out together and we bring Wahoos and Monster Energy and Yogurt Land to these frontline troops. That's going on right now. That's on KLOS every Friday morning. Wing's on there. Sometimes they bring us on and they talk about what we're doing. That makes our team happy. I was at a job walk yesterday in LA, and you know what? They hear that. They want that. They trust us. Our price, they said, you're not low bid. We trust you. We want you here. That's because they know they're going to pay less in the long run because our people think that every nail matters. So that's kind of what we're doing today. We're focused on newer ways of giving, and it is super exciting. And just like business needs to evolve, philanthropy is evolving. I'm also rocking the socks. I've been wearing Ronald McDonald socks for 3 years because that helps us sell roofs. I mean, it also helps our people smile. Absolutely. It also helps our clients feel good. And what you want as a brand, and you can do this in roofing easier than most trades, you want people to feel good when they think about you. You want, when they see that Nike swoosh or that brand, to feel good about you. And if you want to do that, you have to, if you're a leader like me, you have to spend most of your time giving back. Then you can hold on to those people that can really move it forward. And that's my philosophy.
And that's huge. And I love the way you use social media to put that message out there. You're highly inspiring, motivational, as an individual, just your passion. We talk about every time I get off the phone with you, you hit me with these buzzwords that leave me, feeling so just energized. So, anytime I can have a conversation, well, I appreciate you.
You're doing it right now. And by the way, it's not set. And I love that. I applaud that. You didn't call me and say, we're doing this. My dream, my vision is this. And that's why I live in the world of visions. And I have a lot of things that you're going to get to do so long as you allow yourself to live in that world. Right now, I'm doing an intake meeting every Tuesday at 3:00 with Livy and the marketing team at United Way. And we are dreaming. We've been doing this for 3 months. We're doing something that I've talked about for 3 years with people all around the country. And we're building the first of a model for CEO. It's CSR for CEOs in the modern world. What it is going to take somebody and grab them into a Vistage type pocket where it's all private. Because I talk to CEOs of public companies and they come up to me and they thank me for what I'm saying. They can't say what I'm saying. I own 100% of my company. Their shareholders will vote them out in a bad quarter. So right now in United Way, my dream is coming a reality. 2 weeks ago, Chris Tisner was at a national meeting and he unveiled this thing that we're creating. And they're going, yeah. And you know what I love? I'm not driven by cash. You know why I'm so financially set is I'm not driven by cash. I'm driven by impact. That's huge. And so you're driven, if you keep this driven by impact, you will have impact. Cash comes, it trickles back. It comes back in waves eventually because your brand grows, But putting the good forward is a powerful thing because I envision a time that United Way, just like some of our models are being adopted across the world. We have the community corner with the Anaheim Ducks. We've given away 50,000 seats. We see that model being adopted. It's going to make me joyous when I go to a meeting in Pennsylvania and there's a United Way guy there who is in a CEO group where he can quietly learn how to evolve business forward through giving. So that's what you're doing here. And that's the world I live in. And because I live in that world, we have the best roofs we've ever had. I'm not saying our roofs are better than somebody else's because I think there's a lot of good roofers out there. But our roofs are the best they've ever been. And I'm telling you, we've never filed a lien. It's weird stats that are hitting me. And we've never had a warranty that's not lasted its limit. And what's the danger of me putting that out there? I could have people call me right now. Bring it. I love bringing warranties to a full extent. I love that claim. And so, learn to be in roofing instead of hiding and like counting. I got making a little here, I'm giving a little there. No. I have this philosophy now, and I don't know why it works. I don't make no claim to know why it works. I err on the side of generosity with all of my stakeholders. And you guys know that's true. You've seen me do it in the industry, and it doesn't make sense. How do they do that? Well, it's magic when you put it all into the community. We get press, but I don't buy press. I have not had a press spend in years. And we get so much press, but we get it through real relationships with community. When the HOA world plays its dirty games, which it does when there's kickbacks and, that's an ugly word.
It happens. Yeah.
We lose jobs to kickbacks. And but what's breaking it is that at least now we're putting it all out in the front and we're bringing it all out and we're talking about real community. We've got CAI and CACM bringing more discussion of social good. And the reason why is we need it in the world more than we ever did because the world is craving for authenticity. And if you're a roofing professional, you have something really powerful and authentic that you can show easily. That skill you have, that essential service of keeping families safe and dry. And when you throw a little more purpose and stand back, it resonates well in the community, your brand lifts, your people love you, and you sleep better at night knowing you're keeping families safe and dry.
Yeah, that's huge. And you talked about adapting in philanthropy. We've all had to do a lot of adapting due to COVID. So I just wanted to briefly touch on that. How have you guys adapted? You seem to be leading, actually, the way in how your company is dealing, adapting, and moving forward and still, maintaining all these relationships well, how do we say it? Making sure that you are abiding by all the rules. If that's a good way to put it.
I think, Arthur, when all this hit at the end of February, beginning of March, there was a surreal moment I was actually sick. I was worried I had it. I was quietly sick.
Wow.
And I wasn't, but it created a fear in me that I was at home for a few days and I was watching this unfold. My leaders did an excellent job of steadying the ship, but I knew in the moment my number one job was to be steady in the storm. And that's what I did. I steady in the storm. When I was scared, I didn't talk about my fear except in a healthy way. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know we're going to be okay, because we're going to do this, this, and this. When there was fear about whether or not roofing was an essential service, it was really easy for me to explain to my team, but to my industry, I reminded us on several calls that we're okay. Let me tell you why this is an essential service. When this home is threatened by water, who's going to be there? Like firefighters, we're here. But but what really changed for us, I think, I'll talk the metaphor of philanthropy in itself. We're giving roofs to Ronald McDonald House. We're giving roofs to Habitat. We're talking about it. All of a sudden, this thing happens. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden we hear there's a new need. There's a new need in the community that I didn't ever hear before. And I heard food insecurity, but I don't know what food insecurity means really for Americans. I know what food insecurity means in Cambodia, but I don't know what it means here. And all of a sudden I find out there's seniors in our community that don't have enough food and they can't get it to them. So it's like what happened is I said yes when somebody called and said, will you drive a truck? So I took my truck down. I drove my truck for Second Harvest Food Brigade. I'd done stuff there before, but I never did it at a need. And all of a sudden I understood that like 20% of our people are food insecure. So we started donating 3 trucks every Wednesday for the Second Harvest Truck Brigade. It wasn't a thing. It was just a need. And I started talking about it because we needed other companies to do it. Funny how that is, that real need, that real relevance in the community busted our brand bigger than it already is. It wasn't what I set out to do. I didn't know what to do in the moment. I was afraid. I'm admitting it now. I was scared. I showed steadiness, but I just said yes. And then I heard something about blood. Susan DeGrassi, she's on the board of American Red Cross. They can't draw blood. They're all shut down, but we have this huge campus. So we've donated, we sterilized 7,000 feet. We've had 14 drives. We've had 1,000 life-saving treatments of blood. And so this is powerful when we start doing this. And when that word gets out there, those stories are buzzing through social media. You're right. We've never had our brand like this. And then I'm really good friends with Wing Lam. You know, one of the reasons we probably have media attention on it is friends like Wing Lam, who treats he lives in an economy of tacos, and he gives tacos away to people that need it, you know, and I live in an economy of shingles. And I can't help but give shingles away to people that need it. And so we're friends. And I call my friend Wing, and Wing says, I go, how you doing? Because this restaurant wasn't open and I was concerned. He goes, how you doing? And he started telling me, I go, you need some help? And then I gulped because he got quiet. And he said, yes. And ever since that day back in March, I've gone out with him 3 or 4 days a week. And we deliver tacos to frontline heroes. We do it in hospitals. We do it in nursing homes. We do it at police. We do it at fire. We've had the most amazing time. At a time when I couldn't go near anybody, we were out in safe places and safe handoffs, having the most amazing. I'm doing it today. We're going to Orange PD again today, or Fountain Valley PD, or one of the PDs. We went to Fountain Valley PD 8 weeks ago, and the chief started crying. He said, this is the first act of kindness we've seen in the last 2 months. And we're trying to protect the community. I've got rookies, he said, that are quitting right now, looking for a job because nobody's shown any act of kindness. And since that time, we've gone there, we've gone back, and he said, our morale's lifted. We're taking it to hospitals. We're watching a nurse come down from the 4th floor where it's all COVID, when a body just expired. And she's getting this little warm burrito with this little bottle of Cholula, and she's smiling. And she's saying, thank you. You have no idea what this means to us. I just worked a double. And so we're having these experiences at all these places, and it is awakening us. We're alive in the moment more than we've ever been. And I understand my role better than I ever have. I'm not making hardly any posts about roofing right now. It's not that roofing's not important. It's that I have a job to set the standard, to set a role model to other businesses and know what they can do, because we're watched and we're friends with the best brands across the country in roofing. So I have to say, what can we do right now to move community? Because this will move us to do the best jobs on our roofs. And so right now, I'm pushing that message of how philanthropy you better talk about philanthropy, just like you better talk about the work you do through the lens of the world that we're in today. That means all of the way you talk about everything is slightly different than it was 6 months ago. I'll give you one quick example, and I'm going to stop talking because I'm hearing myself go on and on. I showed you I'm wearing the Ronald McDonald socks, and we're rocking the socks right now. And it's a really hot campaign. I mean, we have a lot of local, very famous people that are very much into this campaign. And there's a reason that it's happening. And a lot of the old stories and a lot of the nonprofits aren't so hot right now because they're old stories. You have to tell it through today's lens. And all we did is tell the story through today's lens. Rock the socks with us. You know, there's $500 for a pair of socks. You guys can join. I'll send you a pair of socks. Rock the socks with us so we can tell how we're keeping families safe and close today. Because right now, today, they really need to be protected. And that's why it works. So you slightly alter your message. We used to give roofs to this, this, and this. We're still doing that. But right now, we're focused on blood, frontline support, and food delivery to the food insecure. And by the way, but we're rocking the socks because we're keeping families close today. So all those messages tie into today. That's a hint, and I'm a marketing expert, you know, and I'm not bragging, but that's what I love. And in marketing, I focus my marketing on cause right now because I'm trying to move the dial forward. But in all your marketing messages is what you want to do, and you want to tell the story. You want to take them from pain to gain. And that's what people today in the world, we're scared about all the stuff that's going on, and it hits us in different ways. The story, the solution has to come through in a vein of solution today. And it's not the same as it was 6 months ago. And Arthur, it's not going to be the same 6 months from now. So we're moving in a super adaptive world. Let's get used to being reimaginers, if that's a word.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does, right? The reimagineers. Well, you know what, Charles, it is, right? I'm pretty sure. You know, I really appreciate you being on the show. For me personally, you are highly motivational. You know, I get a buzz whenever I have an opportunity to talk to you. We love everything that you're doing. So you are a friend of the Ask My Roofer podcast. Is there anything or anybody that you want to plug before we say our goodbyes and you get back to all the greatness that you're in the middle of right now?
Well, I feel funny plugging because all I do is plug. I mean, you can rock the socks with me, let me know if you want to.
Yes.
But right now, I would say the California Love Drop is something that is awesome.
Yes.
Wing and I go to every drop. Now, there's times we can't, but 99% of the drops, Wing and I are both there. And if other companies want to come, roughly $700 to $1,000, you could build 100 meals, and we go to your choice fire department. We'll set that up. We have great relationships, and we'll go there. We'll have a media event. We'll have we'll go build the tacos before. We'll go build the burritos before. And the reason you want to do this is the feeling that your people will have and the way the story will resound. And right now is the time. You better be loud. You better be loud, showing, you don't have to get it right, but try to make the world a better place right now. We've never seen a time in our lifetimes, nor of our parents, nor quite have their parents, of what we're seeing today. So be loud. So if you want to go on a California Love Drop, reach out with me. Wing and I will hang out with you. It is a lot of fun. And we will say thank you to our frontline workers. And if you do that, you will be noticed in your community. You will be relevant in your community. And if you do it a lot, you will be believed and trusted in your community, because people know that people that show up for families will show up for them. There's a subliminal reptilian brain cell when you really show up and do the work. Play the long game. It always pays off.
That's wonderful. Well, guys, this is Charles Antis of Antis Roofing. I'm Arthur Perez. This is the Ask My Roofer podcast. We thank you for coming on, Charles. And as always, stay safe out there.